would be the bottom for the housing market. He joins us now exclusively from Post 9. Compass co-founder and CEO Robert Reffkin. It's good to see you again.
Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I remember when you made that call, fourth quarter, and at that time it seemed kind of crazy because real estate stocks were still reeling, the Fed was still raising rates. I don't know, now with the new outlook, after the banking turmoil and the Fed lowering rates, does that change anything about your view of where real estate goes?
Well, at Compass, we have a very unique perspective. We're the #1 real estate brokerage firm in the country, 30,000 agents, 18% of the top 1,000 agents are at Compass, and we have an end-to-end platform that gives us a lot of information on what's happening in the market. And so that's what gave me the conviction to make the call back then. And with today's information, that existing home sales went up 14.5% month over month, the highest increase in month-over-month home sales since July 2020. Gives me more conviction that it was the bottom. So far this year, every single week, week over week, pending listings at Compass have increased. There hasn't been one week-over-week decline.
But are those listings getting sold, and at what prices?
Yeah, so February prices were down by less than 1% year over year, but versus January, they are actually up. And the pending listings are listings that are agreed on to go into contract with buyers and sellers. So that's a forward indication of what the next month or two would be from a revenue perspective.
Isn't it all dependent on mortgage rates at this point?
It is. And so when it comes to this banking crisis, the average buyer, they don't know what price Credit Suisse was bought for. They don't know who the next buyer.
Well, hopefully they've been watching me and David.
No, but they do know, or at least they may start to see even more stringency when it comes to the willingness of certain banks to extend mortgages. That won't be good.
What they've seen to date is that mortgage rates were above 7%, and now they're 6.5%. And buyers are taking advantage of any opportunity when mortgage rates go down to dive in. And so even through the banking crisis, we've seen increases in activity in the market. More open house traffic, more multiple offers, and more in-contract listings week over week for the last 3 weeks as well.
I'm curious. I haven't tracked this in quite a while, but adjustable rate mortgages that were taken some time ago, are there going to be a subset of people who are in for sticker shock at some point when they get that adjustment? And what will that mean?
Yeah, I think there will be people that have sticker shock. That affordability is definitely an issue, and some people took risk in that regard. But I don't think that is going to change the market outlook.
You don't?
No.
Why not?
Because mortgage rates are still going down relative to 7.15 just 2 weeks ago. And 6% is the new normal. Buyers are accepting these mortgage rates.
So they psychologically adjusted to the idea that mortgage rates are obviously appreciably higher than they were a couple of years ago.
Exactly. And one thing you can learn from the global financial crisis, the pandemic, is you can only hold back the real estate market for so long. Last year, we saw mortgage rates go from an all-time low to a 20-year high. And that created a lot of pent-up demand where buyers are now coming back into the market because it's a new normal.
But to David's earlier point, we've already seen banks start to tighten their standards for lending, and it's affected mortgages. Have you not seen that at all? And it's set to get worse after this.
I think where lending standards will have the biggest impact are with development loans, development capital. And I think the result of that will be there will be even less inventory when we already have an inventory crisis, which will lead to prices increasing even more over time.
You've been cutting costs as a company, haven't you? Is that something you can stick with if, in fact, the growth rate for your industry actually starts to heat up?
Yeah, we've been cutting costs to ensure that we can be free cash flow positive for this full year starting in Q2. We still feel confident in that outlook, but we do not believe we're going to have to cut costs again.
You don't?
No, the market is much better than we thought it was going to be in Q4 when we designed the cost cuts.
What about hiring of agents?
We're still hiring agents. We decided to stop giving incentives of any kind, no equity in sign-ons, no cash sign-ons. We stopped in summer, and we've hired over 1,000 agents since that point in time.
So you don't have to do that anymore?
No, they're speaking with their pocketbooks. They're with no financial incentive that they come to Compass just because the platform helps them grow their business and have a better quality of life because it saves them time.
Is it reflective at all of a looser employment market as well, or you think it's really purely because of Compass?
I believe it's purely because of Compass, but there is something happening in the overall industry. We saw 7.5% of the agents in Q4 leave the industry. There were 1.6 million, now they're 1.5 million because it's a harder time to be an agent. But in down markets, the best agents always gain market share, and Compass is a company of the best agents because 18% of the top 1,000 agents in the country are at Compass.
How many markets are you in again?
We have over 400 offices across the country.
And what's the hottest market right now?
The hottest markets, I would say, are in Southern California. In addition to that, the warm weather, low tax areas like the Carolinas, Texas, Florida.
Yeah, that's been the theme. Robert, thank you very much. It's good to get all this information. Robert
Thank you.
Refkin, CEO of Compass. As investors